Okay. So we know the definition of array. Array is a collection of elements with same name and same type. So in arrays, that is need for arrays is like many things are there, but if you remember two things, it's enough like searching and sorting to find the element in an array that is in the given list, to arrange the elements of the list in particular order. Okay, that is in ascending or descending order. Then, so there is a concept called as subscript, or we can say index, or the position. So which indicates the position of each element present in an array that is in the given list. Okay, so very good example is like if you look at the index of your textbook, so you'll come to know like what is the chapter number. So this particular chapter belongs to which serial number, that is we can say which chapter. Okay, fourth or fifth chapter. So that is called as index. Okay, so so only they have kept the name as index in the textbook. Okay, index page. So in array, same thing, we have index or subscript or position we can call. So for that we have some rules, that is index or subscript should not start with 1, it should start with 0. Okay, it will always start with 0. Okay, whereas in case of real world it will start from 1. So if you look at the index or page of the textbook, it will not start from 0, it will start from 1. So we can say first chapter, second chapter, third chapter that way. But when we talk in terms of arrays, so it will start from 0. Okay, and index value will not be negative number. Okay, it will be always positive integer. Okay, then index value will not be floating point value like 2.25, 3.5 like that. Okay, in textbook it may be present, but in arrays it will not be floating point value. Okay, now coming to the types of arrays, we have three types: one dimensional array, two dimensional array, and multi-dimensional array. Okay, so when we say like dimension, so dimension is nothing but the, we can consider it as a direction. Okay, or it indicates the position. Dimension is nothing but the direction, or it indicates the position. Okay, so for example, if you look at the graphs, that is x-axis and y-axis. Okay, so in graph also, if you put some point, so if you write the coordinates like 3, 5 something, so that indicates the position. Position in the sense like, so how much distance it is from x-axis and how much distance it is from y-axis. So these are called as coordinates. So this you can consider like 2D. Okay, that is 2 dimensions. Okay, so in case of 2 dimensions, we require two things, two values to represent the position of that particular element. Or here you can say this position, that is coordinates. Okay, 3, 5. So this is in case of 2 dimensional. So when we talk in terms of arrays, this 3 is nothing but the row number. Okay, we can say row number, and this 5 is nothing but the column number. Okay, this 3 is nothing but the row number, and 5 is nothing but the column number. So this is in terms of arrays. Okay, so when I say row number and column number to represent the element, to indicate the position of the element, then it is nothing but the 2-dimensional array. So if I want 1-dimensional, it is nothing but only one this thing, like either the row or the column. You should not consider both. Okay, either row number you consider or the column number you consider. That indicates the 1 dimension, because one position is required to indicate the element. Okay, so either the row or the column. Generally, we take the row number. Okay, generally it is considered as row. Or else, if you don't consider it as like row or a column, for example, if you have forgot like whether it is a row or a column, don't worry. You just consider it as 1 dimension. If you remember that it is 1 dimension, that is enough. That means one value is required to represent the element. One value is required to represent the element in case of 1 dimension. In case of 2 dimensional, 2 values are required. That is, row number is 1 value, column number is another value. So 2 values are required to represent the element. Okay. So 1-dimensional array definition says it is a collection of elements with same name and same type with one subscript value. So remember this point. It is a collection of elements with same name and same type with one subscript value. If you are getting confused with row number and column number, don't worry. If you don't remember that whether it is row number or column number, it's okay. You just remember that it is one subscript value. So elements of the 1-dimensional array is represented by one subscript value, nothing but one index value. So the definition is One-dimensional array is a collection of elements with same name and same type with one subscript value or with one index value. So this is the definition. Now, coming to the declaration, because whenever you consider it as a variable or a constant or an array or a function or a class or an object, for all these things, there is one general term called as identifier. Okay, so identifier indicates variables or constants or arrays or functions, classes, structure, objects, and so on. So identifiers. We have to declare an identifier. That means we have to declare the variable or we have to declare an array, because whenever you want to store any value in a particular variable, first you have to declare that variable. Then only you can store the value. Similarly, if I want to store the values in an array, because what is an array? It is a collection of elements. Collection means more than one value. So if I want to store more than one value in an array, then first I need to declare it. First you should know whether it comes in one-dimensional or two-dimensional. Then depending on that type of an array, how to declare the array. Okay. So declaration of one-dimensional array is, so declaration is, it says, so data type, okay, array name, data type, array name. So you have to mention the size. You have to mention the size because we are storing more than one value. If you are storing one value also, you have to mention the size in case of arrays. If you mention like 10, 15, 20, it's good. That means you are storing more than one value. So this is the syntax to store more than one value in a particular variable. To store more than one value in a particular variable, and that variable name is called as an array. Okay. If I want to store only one value, then this syntax you can consider data type variable. Okay. You don't need to mention the size. It is understood that in this you can store only one value. If you consider this syntax, you can store only one value. So here you can store more than one value. Now let us consider this one because we are talking about arrays. Okay. So this is the syntax of one-dimensional array. Remember, this is the syntax of one-dimensional array. So if I want to write example of this, examples, okay, and this array name is an identifier. Remember, this array name is an identifier. So I have to remember the identifier rules and then write the array name. Okay. See, whenever I tell identifier, so 4 rules should come into your mind. Okay. 4 rules should come into your mind so that you can write the identifiers very easily. Keywords not allowed. Starting character should not be digit. Symbols except underscore is not allowed. Blank space is not allowed. So these 4 rules, if you remember, you can write the identifier very easily. Okay. Then coming to the data type, so let me take it as int. Okay. Then array name, I will consider it as A. So again, I'm telling it is not a rule that you have to consider every time A only. You can consider any letter, either capital letter or small letter, or if you want to write, say like 2 or 3 letters. For example, if I want to write ARR, so this is also correct because it is an identifier. Just you have to see that you are following all identifier rules and writing the array name. Okay. So A is an array name. So you have to mention the size. If I mention size like say 5, okay. So this indicates the size. So maximum number of elements you can store. 5 number of elements you can store. 5 elements you can store. For this memory representation is just understand here. So compiler or the computer will give 5 locations, that is 5 values you can store. So which is indicated by only one variable. So the difference between variables which store single value and the array is in case of single values, that is variables which store single value, we have to mention 5 variable names to store 5 values. So yesterday we have discussed that. If I want to store 5 values, I have to mention 5 variables. Say like this. Say for example, int A, B, C. Okay. If you want to store 5 values, you have to take 5 variable names. But in case of arrays, if you want to store 5 values, you need not take 5 variables. You take only one variable, that is called as an array, and you just mention the size. That's enough. If you want to store 100 values also, instead of 5, if you mention 100, you can store 100 values. But here, in case of variables which store single values, if you want to store 100 values, then you need to mention 100 variable names here. Okay, that is the advantage of arrays. So this is how memory representation looks. Okay, and This 5 indicates maximum number of elements what you can store. That is the array size. So when you store the values in an array that is in the given list, for each element, particular position will be there. Okay, that is called as an index. So this itself is not called as index. Okay, this is the size, how many values you can store. Within the square bracket, what I written here it is size. And for every value what you write the number, that is the index. See, first position, see, first location value is indicated by 0. Okay, and even size and index value should be put in square bracket, that is brackets. Okay, so this is the 0. So first value index will be 0 always in array. First value index will be 0. Then, so in sequence, rotate 1, so 2, 3, 4. So number of elements what you can store is 5, and position starts from 0. So at the end it will be 4. So it's very simple. Number of elements minus 1. The last position will be number of elements minus 1. So you may get one more question here. That is, what is the subscript value of the first element of an array? What is the subscript value of the first element of an array? So you have to write it as 0. Okay. The subscript of the first value of an array is 0. Subscript is nothing but index. Okay. So these things indicates subscript values. See, by four terms you can follow: subscript, index, position, or location. Okay. So whichever you feel comfortable, you can call it. So this is the subscript value. So first element subscript value will be 0. Okay. Whenever you get a question, you need to answer. What is the subscript of the first element of an array? That is 0. And what is the subscript of the last element of an array? Don't say 4. Here in this example, it is 4. You have to say number of elements minus 1 or size minus 1. Okay. Last element position or the subscript value is size minus 1. If you have taken 5, it is 4. If you have taken 100, 100 minus 1, it is 99. If you have taken 50, 50 minus 1, it is 49. So first subscript value will be always 0. Last subscript value will be size minus 1. Okay. So this is how we can declare the array. Okay. So next thing what we have to do is, like, see, whenever we create the variables, whenever we declare the variables, we need to store the values, because variable contains the value which may change during the execution of the program. Okay. We need to store the values. So there are two ways of storing the values. One is by giving initial value to the variable, and another one is by using cin statement. Okay. There are two ways. That is, one is by giving initial value to the variable, another one is by using cin statement. So let us consider the initial value, that is initialization process. Okay. Initialization of the variables. See, actually in introduction to C++ chapter, this topic is present, initialization of variables, or I think in data types. I don't know, in introduction to C++ or data types, somewhere it is present. Initialization of variable, that is giving initial value to the variable. So their syntax is there with explanation and example. See, if you remember the basic things, what you have learned in the previous chapter, so that you can move very fast. Fast in the sense, you can understand the things fastly. Okay, or else if you have forgotten, again I have to teach all those things, then I should teach the remaining things. Okay, let me teach those things, but from next topics, if you remember the things what we have learned previously, then it will be very good for you and for me both. See, initialization of variable is nothing but giving initial value to the variable. So there is a syntax for it. So that syntax is here I can take. So initialization of a variable. So giving initial value to the variable. So here syntax is there. So you just look at the syntax of variable declaration first. So variable declaration syntax is data type variable semicolon, data type variable name semicolon. So if I want to initialize the variable, if I want to give the value to the variable, then the syntax is just, it is the extension of it. So what I am telling is, you remember this general formula forever, because it helps for many declarations like array declaration, object declaration, structure declaration, initialization. Okay. So data type variable semicolon. This is the syntax to declare the variable. Now for initialization, the syntax is see data type, okay, say variable is equals to value. You just extend that. That becomes the initialization. Just extend it. Data type variable is equals to value semicolon. So there is no alternative way to learn programming language other than learning syntax, that is formulas. So if you don't know the formulas in mathematics, how you face difficulty in solving the problems, same thing in programming language. If you don't know the syntax or the general form or the rules, then to write a program, to understand a program, it will be very, very difficult. So how to remember the syntax? So data type variable is to declare the variable. Data type variable is equals to value is to declare the variable plus storing the value. Both here. It will declare the variable, then it will store the value. See, declaration of variable means to know the type of the value, to know how much amount of memory it is using. To know the type of the value, to know how much amount of memory it is using. Okay. So data type variable is equals to value. Now let me consider like 5 variables. Okay. So if I consider int, okay, a is equals to 10. Okay. Int b is equals to 20. C is equals to 30. Okay. Int d is equals to 40. Okay, there is one more syntax that is like data type. Even I can give in one line b1 equals to value 1. It's okay, but let us consider that. So you just look at this. Int is the data type. In all these examples, int is the data type. And a, b, c, d, e, these are the variables. So a, b, c, d, e, these are the variables. And 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, these are the values. Okay, so data type variable is equals to value. Okay. Now, when we consider the memory representation of this, so it may look like this. That is, so 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay. So this is variable A, B, C, D, E. Okay. So this is how we can store the values in variables which contains single value, which can store single value. Now, with respect to arrays, we will see how it is. Okay. So here I will not write the syntax, but I will write directly example so that you can understand. It's not a problem. Okay. So you look at this declaration. Int a of 5. Okay, 5 is the maximum size. 5 elements you can store, or less than that also you can store. Not more than that. Okay. So now I need to store the values. Directly don't write it. First let me write the code. So the code is int. So a of 5 is equals to. So I have to put the braces. So remember the technical terms. How to put the braces. Don't call it flower braces. Opening brace and closing brace. Okay. Then you look at the values. So I want to store 5 values. So let me take same values. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay. And at the end, put the semicolon. After closing the brace, you put the semicolon. Okay. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. In this way, how to write. Once again, I will tell you. Data type. A is the array name, 5 is the size, is equal to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay. So 5 values you can store, separating it by commas. So this is the example that how to initialize one dimensional array. And these values will be stored here. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. See, when you write this particular line, then only the values are stored in the memory. Just by writing this line will not store any values because this is just the declaration. This is just the declaration where we are not giving any values. So here is the declaration where we are giving the values. So this process is called as initialization. Initialization of one-dimensional array. Initialization of one-dimensional array. I hope people got it. So any doubts till here? Okay. So don't hesitate or don't feel shy. Just you ask the doubts. So whatever the doubts you come across, you just write in the chat box so that we will discuss. So wherever it is, if it is from this part also you ask. Okay, it's not a problem. Okay, clear. Okay, you can take the screenshot of this. Okay, so I'll wait for a minute, then we'll continue. Okay, fine. Okay. So some more examples we will discuss in case of initialization of one-dimensional array. Okay. See. So this is the first example what we have discussed. So for this memory representation, so how we can consider is like you take 5 locations. Okay. Next, so these are the values part, okay, and this complete thing is array A, okay, and this indicates positions, okay. So these are the index values, okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if suppose if I consider the example in this way, let me take int B is the array name, B of 5 is equals to 10, 20, 30. So size is 5, but I have written only 3 values. Size is 5, but I have written only 3 values. In this case, what happens? Remaining 2 values will be considered as 0. Remaining 2 values will be considered as 0. See, if you are storing less values, then remaining locations will be considered as 0. If you are storing more values, it will not accept, it will give the error. Okay. So in this case, if you consider the memory representation, okay, 10, 20, 30, 0, 0. So index values will be same. There is nothing change in the index value. So start from 0, end at 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And these are the values part. And this is complete array. So sometimes you may get a question, what happens when array values are not initialized? Okay, then you have to answer remaining locations will be occupied with 0. That means 0 will be stored. If it is not initialized, 0 will be stored. Okay, that means if the array size is 5, if you are giving only 1 or 2 or 3 values, so remaining locations will be 0. So here 2 locations, that is third location and fourth location is 0. Okay, and one more case is like if this is the case, that is, I have taken size as 5, but I am storing 6 values. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Okay. And that only we are discussing. So I have given 6 values 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So in this case, we can display the error. Okay. Wrong initialization. So error message, it depends. If you execute the program, you come from the error message. Just I'm telling you, okay, it's not the exact error message what you get, but the explanation or the understanding is wrong initialization because array size is 5, but you are giving 6 elements. So it is wrong initialization. In this case, it will display the error. Okay. Okay, people got it. So this is the first example where we have stored 5 values. So array size is 5. So we have stored 5 values. In the second example, so array size is 5, but I am storing only 3 values. So remaining locations will be considered as 0. Okay. And in the third example, array size is 5, but I am trying to stick 6 values. Here we get an error, that is wrong initialization. Okay. So next topic is to display the elements of one-dimensional array. Okay. So before we go to the displaying the elements of one-dimensional array, so let us try to understand how to display the values of the variables which contains single value. Okay. So if I consider like int, so a is equals to 10. Okay. Then b is equals to 20, c is equals to 30. So let us consider these three values. That is, a, b, c are the variables, 10, 20, and 30 are the values. Okay. Now, if I want to display these values, so which statement should I use? So that is cout statement. So cout insertion operator a. If you want, you can use the endl. Okay. Then again cout. So insertion operator b endl. Cout insertion operator c endl. Or you can write in single cout statement, say cout a So by using cout statement, we can display the values of the variables which store single values. So for this, if we want to write the output, so it will be like 10, 20, 30. Okay. Now if we consider the array, that is, see, if I consider int a of 3, so let us consider the size as 3, a of 3 is equal to 10, 20, 30. Okay. So I have taken the array name A, size is 3, and the values are 10, 20, and 30. Okay, 3 values we have taken. So if you consider the memory representation, it will look like this. Okay, so 10, 20, 30. So first element position is 0, second element position is 1, third element position is 2. Okay. So this is the array. So now if I want to display these values on the console screen, that is on the output screen, same thing, I have to write this cout statement. Okay. See, just by mentioning the array name, it will not display. Okay. Just by mentioning the array name, it will not display the values. You should not think like if I just mention the array name, it will display all the values. No, it will not display. So we need to mention the index value. Okay. That is cout a of 0. So a of 0 will display the first value. So a of 0 will display the first value, that is 10. Okay, then cout a of 1. So you have to write array name within the brackets. You mention the size, that is 1. Okay, and you should read it as a of 1. Okay, then endl. Next cout a of 2. Okay. So cout a of 0 will display the value 10. Okay. Cout a of 1 will display the value 20. Cout a of 2 will display the value 30. So if you want to access the elements present in the computer memory, that is in case of arrays, write the array name and the subscript value. So subscript value you have to write in brackets. Okay. So you have to use the square brackets, not braces or parentheses. You have to use the square bracket. Similarly, a of 1, a of 2. Read it as a of 0, a of 1, a of 2. Okay. So again, I'm telling we have 3 set of brackets. That is parentheses, braces, brackets. So these are the parentheses and these are the braces. These are the brackets. So for subscript, you use this set of brackets. Okay. So a of 0 will display the first value, a of 1 will display the second value, a of 2 will display the third value. So our output may look like this. 10, 20, 30. You just compare the differences here. In case of values which store single variables which store single value, you just observe here how we have written this cout statement. So variable A, variable B, variable C. Here variable name is same, that is array name, but depending on the position it will display the value. A of 0 will display the first value, A of 1 will display the second value, A of 2 will display the third value. Okay. So remaining things we will see in the next class.